A UN official has warned that millions of people around the world will die if Ukraine's Black Sea ports remain closed. As Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of the country continues, the war is disrupting global supply chains, which could come to have a devastating effect further afield. Ukraine and Russia are responsible for around 29% of the wheat exported around the world, and they're also major suppliers of metals and other materials. Ukraine has even been labeled the breadbasket of Europe due to the significance of its wheat exports, and now head of the United Nations World Food Programme, David Beasley, has spoken about the immense problems in supply chains caused by the invasion. He stressed the significance of opening the country's ports within the next 2 months, or else risk the deaths of millions and the collapse of Ukraine's entire economy. Millions of people around the world will die because these ports are being blocked, Beasley said at a trade conference. If you don't get this port issue resolved and open, Ukraine's economy completely collapses. It becomes landlocked like Moldova. The ports are critical. World leaders have got to put pressure on Russia in such a way that we can have absolute neutrality to move supplies in and out of Odessa. Discussing what he would say to Putin, he replied, "If you have any heart at all for the rest of the world, regardless of how you feel about Ukraine, you need to open up those ports." It comes after US President Joe Biden said that around 20 million tons of grain are currently being held in silos in Ukraine. Guess what? Biden previously said. If those tons don't get to market, an awful lot of people in Africa are going to starve to death because they are the sole supplier of a number of African countries. The group of 7 leading economies warned Saturday that the war in Ukraine is stoking a global food and energy crisis that threatens poor countries, and urgent measures are needed to unblock stores of grain that Russia is preventing from leaving Ukraine. In a statement released at the end of a 3-day meeting on Germany's Baltic Sea coast, the G7 nations also called on China not to help Russia. Russia's war of aggression has generated one of the most severe food and energy crises in recent history, which now threatens those most vulnerable across the globe, the group said. "We are determined to accelerate a coordinated multilateral response to preserve global food security and stand by our most vulnerable partners in this respect," it added. Kuleba said his country remains willing to talk to Russia about unblocking grain supplies stuck in Ukraine's silos and also about reaching a political agreement to end the war itself, but had so far received no positive feedback from Moscow. Stay tuned to our channel, subscribe now.